It's interesting. So it seems like there might be a lot of gaps in the current way we're documenting and tracking these processes. Can you define what are those gaps from your perspective?
I think the main gaps are really just, they're more to do with the kind of the versioning of the process itself. And yes, we have high-level versioning. So if you've got a documentum system or you're doing something in SharePoint, then that whole document may go through a version. So you can track one version to the next. What we're not doing as part of our process development is bringing that down to the parameter level. And that's what we're kind of really interested here, is how does not just how does your document and your overall process description change over time, but how does your parameter change over time? And that's probably the biggest gap, because without understanding how your parameter changes and how those parameter changes impact your product and product quality, you're just left with a broad high-level document search.
So Mark, what aspects around the management of processes is currently overlooked today?
As an industry, we've become very good at collecting data and increasing our knowledge about the product. In the next evolution, we need to capture data about our process, how it changes because of development, and how this impacts manufacturing.
So you've talked about parameters. What do you mean when you talk about parameters?
So when I think of parameters, in terms of your experiment or your unit operation, you've inevitably got kind of three levels of parameter. You've got your input parameters, you've got your kind of output parameters, and you've got your raw material parameters. What we're really talking about here is your input parameters. What parameters are you going to control in order to maximize and control your manufacturing process? And these would be things like your critical to quality attributes or your critical process parameters, for example. When we're talking about critical process parameters across the context of process development, what we're really talking about is how do we go from knowing very little about our process and our parameters to fully determining whether they are critical as part of our process towards our critical quality attributes, and what are the specifications that we need to control in order to ensure that we're making a safe and effective drug.